Hello, hello. Thanks for tuning in tonight. And hi, thanks for... I can see people in the chat already. Always good to see. Um, yeah, so today we are on episode 7 of Let's Build an Online Store. Well, do a very quick recap over what we've done. We have started by building up our customers, which is our user, and designing our data models and the events and how they're going to store some information. Hey Mark. And then we moved on to products and variants of products. Hey Craig, hope you're doing okay, buddy. And how we interact with those. Hey buddy, thanks for coming. Ah, they're all tuning in now. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. It's like a little family, isn't it? And then we started working on our shopping cart, and we kind of just been stuck with our shopping cart, really, haven't we? And we've been working on shopping cart and orders, and how all of those are kind of tying together. We then moved on to test-driven development about how our cart's actually going to work. We did all the data modeling, and we kind of looked at how we wanted things to work from a data perspective. So we could store this, store that, and that's all well and good, but it's not useful, right? It's not telling you how a shopping cart's going to be built. It's just showing you how I'm storing the data. So we started a test-driven development approach to how a cart will work and how we can add a product, how we can remove a product, increase and decrease quantity, which we've just finished. We then worked on finishing off some cart functionality where we did some coupons, adding some coupons, and a few other side things around there. And now we're going to be looking at removing a coupon, adding our shipping information and billing information, and then if we've got time, we're going to start looking at payments and how we're going to handle payments. Then episode 8, it's already on YouTube, I believe. I've already put it up there. We're going to start looking at focusing on payments and how we want to work with payments, because typically what we do is we'll have a front end. Let's say we're using Stripe. Our front end will use Stripe elements. That will handle that. We get a token, it gets sent to us, and then we just store it. And yeah, we need to look at that workflow a little bit and see what's going to work best from an API perspective. So, without further ado, I'm just going to jump into it, I think. If the music's too loud, let me know. We've got some good old punk rock factory going on again, so we are in the mood for writing code. Let's just close all of our tabs. Make sure we haven't had any PRs. I think we might have done. What do we get going on? Right. We have got... We had a couple of PRs coming through, adding data sets and adding the app key for EMV, and adding a GitHub workflow test by Samuel, who is, I believe, watching us tonight. So thanks very much for that. That was much appreciated. So what he's done here is carts. We have some data sets. I like how you've done this. Really good. And what this has done is, in our cart test, it's allowed us to use 3 cart items, yeah, there you go, that makes sense. Cart item, 3 cart items and a cart. So, yeah, it's given us a really good place to start. So, our next step is if we just come back to our roots, because we're kind of using our roots for organisation a little bit here. Adding a coupon to our cart was like the last thing that we did, right? Now we want to just remove that and just say, get rid of that basically. We're not going to update coupons. Yeah, coupons aren't something that you need to update or get a specific instance of from an API perspective. a coupon is applied to a cart. So there's no other interaction needed other than adding and removing here. So we're just going to add this. Remove a coupon from our cart. Yeah, no, I'm sure it was a fun PR. I love writing tests and getting, the CI, CD, well, mostly CI at this stage, the continual integration stuff going with the testing, and it's fun. It's just all those little pieces all coming together. It's definitely enjoyable. So we're going to do a delete request, and we're going to do that to cart UUID. Coupons, and what we need to do is we want to look at the cart. Here's that coupon. So far it's not really got anything. We're going to need the key, aren't we? Do we just refactor this to use UUID? Are you still travelling, are you, Craig? I'll try not to spoil too much before you get a chance to watch it, mate. Don't worry. Right. So I'm going to refactor this. We want our coupons to have a UID. So what we need to do, luckily we're in a place where we can actually do things like this really easily. We can just swap this key to a UUID. Close that. That can be has UUID. We can delete the things that we aren't using. There's that. And then we could jump into factories for our coupon. We can say we shouldn't need that because it's on the model now. That's good. Right, let's just give it a go, shall we? Are we going to get there? Ooh, London to Plymouth. That is quite a journey. That is quite... Ooh, okay. Field code and have a default value insert into coupons. Okay, so something somewhere is failing. Field code doesn't have a default value. Insert into database seeder line 23. So let's quickly dig into that. Yeah, the has UUID trait is super helpful for me. Okay, so coupon factory. Okay. So that coupon factory should be fine. Oh wait, no. Coupons don't have code. Why is there not a code on that? What was I thinking? That's going to get too distracting having that there. So we're just going to reorganize the screen a little bit. Let's bring PHP Storm and Notion over, and then let's just open up Warp. Here we go. There's my mouse. Here we go. Let's stick this over here so we can... There we go. We want to migrate fresh and seed. Here we go. Let's see how that goes. This is one of the things I love about Warp, is that my editing's down there and it scrolls up, and then things are staying there. So it's kind of got that momentum to it, whereas your traditional terminal, for example, if I take that there and go, it's kind of flipped it a little bit. So I can come code sites, shop, and let's just do the same thing. In comparison, this is feeding down, whereas this is feeding up. So it just makes it nice to see things. I don't know. I suppose it's a user experience thing. So yeah, that's obviously working. We don't need the terminal open. We only need the one open, and we're going to stick with Warp because Warp is amazing. So there's our code. There's our coupon. So here we go. Right, coupons. Then we can go coupon UUID, and that's going to go somewhere, and the name will be coupons remove or something, coupons delete or something like that, I think. Coupons delete, and for that we'll go to app. Hey, what did I do? HTTP controllers API v1 carts coupons delete controller class, and let's just comment that out so we don't get a error straight away. Yellow, yeah, very yellow. That is the Jump 24 background that I set up, just to remind me where I work, really. now that I've started working for them, I've got to start wearing the hoodie. Got to have the background so I remember. There's this random terminal theme in my trash, so let me empty that. And so now that is there. Let's say make a controller, and we want that to be in API v1 carts coupons delete controller, and we want this to be invocable. So the reason I like the light theme is because it makes it really clear, and it's a little bit easier on the eyes. Personally, I find it much easier to just focus. That's one of the reasons I do it. So we're going to get a cart coming in here, and then we're going to get a coupon coming in here. So what? This will refactor later on. Eventually we'll be doing things like checking API keys, making sure they can delete a coupon, that sort of thing. But we're not really deleting a coupon, we're just detaching a coupon, really. So all we've really got to do for this is work with the cart, not the coupon. But, you know. So there's all of that. So what we want to do now is our tests. Init test. There's our cart test. This is starting to get a little bit big for me. I'm going to start splitting this out, I think. So I'm going to create a new feature test here. And we're going to create a coupon test here. Do I need anything? No, currently not. So all we're wanting to do is something similar to this. So we'll grab that and we're going to paste that in, but we're going to comment it out because we want something similar, right? So let's close that, close all of these because we don't care about them yet. We don't need them yet. So we want to say it can remove a coupon from the cart. And for now, we're just going to do this. I suppose we could use the data providers as we have them. Here's a cart. Here's a coupon. We can import that class, and we can simplify that one, and we can say that this does not need a return statement. So what we want to do is we want to hit an endpoint, right? We want our cart to have a specific state. We want our cart to have a coupon applied, basically. So what we need to do is so we've got a cart and a coupon, At this stage, let's just do a quick die and dump on the cart and see what we're getting by default. Gonna run this. So we have got 0 reduction, coupon null. That's fine. Yeah, I'm looking to update my website soon, so I'll probably be putting all of this stuff on there. So just check my website a little bit later, and well, not later because the rebuild is starting next week on the stream, but check it soon. So what we want to do is we want to say cart. So our cart has got a relationship. Doesn't have a relationship, does it? It has got a coupon and a reduction here. So what we want to do is want to update our cart basically, and we want to say that our coupon is coupon code and the reduction is coupon reduction, because that's all we're doing in the background. We've already tested this logic, adding and applying this. So that is just saying, right, okay, so basically we're just applying this coupon. This is building up our the state of the data for this. Realistically, I'd do something in here, but we'll refactor to that, I think. So here is our cart. So now if I just do a die and dump on cart again, if I run this, what we'll see this time, what we should see is that we've got a coupon and it's got a reduction. That has got a £9.05 reduction if you're speaking UK British pounds, and that is the coupon code there. So what that means is that we are in a perfect place to remove a coupon. So we can do a delete request. So let's simplify that, where the URI is going to be, we're going to delete, we need that, and we need the cart to be that, and we need the coupon to be coupon UID. So now we can put that there, and with a delete request, I don't actually think it requires additional parameters, really. No, it won't. Cool. So our first thing what we're going to want to do is assert status, and the status that we're going to want to expect is accepted. We want to know that the API endpoint has accepted our request to remove, basically. So we are failing. Let's go through. So we should be getting a 202, but we're getting a 500. Call to undefined method, cart coupons. Okay, so how can we handle this? It's not really a relationship, is it? Doesn't have anything. It's a it's because I'm using binding, isn't it? So that might mean that I've just got to turn that into a UUID, which means that this has got to be a string, and that's UUID. So let's go back and try this again and change the argument there. So let's run it again. So perfect. So we're expecting a 202, but we received a 200. So that's because our delete controller is doing literally nothing. So all we've got to do now is coupon test. Here we go. So we don't need to assert anything at this point, really. You know, we can do like expect cart refresh reduction to equal coupon reduction. That should in theory work, but let's run it. Yep, we're passing part of it, so that's good. Hey Mark, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing okay. So that's all that. And then later on we are going to, once we've deleted, we are going to expect the reduction to be null, basically. So, to be null. That is our test. So, let's force it to have a, let's update it so it's got a code and a reduction. And let's just make sure that that's actually been applied. We'll run our request, and then we'll expect it to be null because we've deleted it basically. And then parts of this can be deleted once we update the data provided down the bottom. So, run that again. So we are failing because of status code. So, very simply, we could return a new response where the content is null and the status is HTTP accepted. That would, you know, that would make our test pass to start with, but it shouldn't pass everything. Perfect. So it's failed asserting that that is null. Perfect. So we can't just, you know, this, whatever happens here can't just fail, basically. So what we need to do is, usually I'd push this to a background job, but this is a very quick action that we just kind of want to happen. So for now, I'm just going to do a cart update and we want the coupon to be null, and we want the reduction to be null. That's what we want. That's like the ideal outcome. So we have to do a check first, right? We got to say, okay, so if the let's get a coupon, and we want to say where the UUID is the UUID, first or fail. So that should, you know, if you pass me something wrong, it's going to give you a 404. Great. Half expect that. And then we want to say, okay, so if the cart coupon does not equal the coupon code, then we want to basically abort with the status code HTTP not found. There we go. So we just want to just say nope, still can't do it. You know, that is incorrect. Now you could do a like a not authorized or unauthorized, sorry. But what we want is a not found because we don't want to give away too much at this stage. So let's go back and run our test. Run that. So received to 500. Cart reduction. Okay, so basically the carts table, we need to set that back to 0, not null. That means that our test we want to make sure that the coupon is null. Cool. So we can see that's worked. The cart coupon is what we've just assigned it to here, the coupon code. We've ran the delete request, that's been accepted, and then we've checked that the coupon that we applied is now null because of this request. So it's a kind of a slow way around doing it. So this is where refactoring will probably step into it. So what we can do now is let's look to refactor, and we can do in datasets. We could do a dataset where the name is going to be cart with coupon, and the dataset is going to be a closure. So it's going to return a cart item. We don't really need a cart item, do we? We just need a cart. So we're going to get a cart. We're going to get a factory. And we're going to create. Okay, so short closure might not work here, but we should have a look at refactoring back to 1 to make it cleaner. So what we want is we want a cart factory create. Actually, you know what? I think we can do that. I think we can do it. So we're going to create, and where the how could we do it? We need to create a state, don't we? So factory states. What we want to do, we want to look at states. So that means we can come down to database, factories, cart factory, and we want a state. So our state is going to look like this. So that's returning a factory. Cool. So public function with coupon. And that's going to return this state where the function has an array of attributes, and what we want to do is return that array basically. So let's zoom in and let's just focus for a second. So state function array attributes. Sorry, that's going to return an array. So we can return that the coupon is going to be coupon factory create, and coupon code, and that the reduction is going to be that coupon reduction, and that returns a factory. So we can just say factory, and there we go. Unused parameter attributes, yes, fine. You can pass array instead of callback in state. Can I? Callback. Oh, okay, so I can do. I do, yeah. I kind of need it though. I mean, I could move this out, I suppose. And then this could be that. That works. I haven't played with factories that much, if I'm completely honest. It's a part of Laravel I want to play with more. So, there we go. So, I can now come back to my coupon test. And where we are... Don't need a factory. Carts. Here we go. So, coupon factory with coupon. Create. And I don't want to add anything in that. So, if I just grab this instead, cart with coupon. In my coupon test here, I shouldn't need to do that anymore. I don't want to do that. I want to do that. Cart with coupon. And now let's just do a quick down dump on that and see how things are looking. And then format Bothify. Where's that happening? Generator. Coupon factory. Okay. Let me take this back a few steps. And now let's test that, just in case. They're still having issues with Bothify, isn't it? Okay, not that. And then format first name. Okay, so things are starting to crash unexplainably. 27. Is that what we want? This seems to be causing issues, doesn't it? This cart factory with coupon. Is there a nicer way we could do it? Let's go back to here. And we're just going to have to do it long-handed. So our coupon is a coupon factory create, and then we want to return a cart factory create, where we're passing in the arguments of the coupon being the coupon code and reduction as a coupon reduction. Let's come back to our test and let's run it again, see how we're getting on. What's going on? Make sure nothing's kind of spazzing out anywhere that's just causing major issues that we're just not seeing. So let's just run that. Call Bothify. So something is breaking along the road just by switching to this. Let's going to test that one. Evening, how you doing? We are having issues. Definitely a rock and roll lifestyle there, Mark. Okay, so we're just going to go for a standard cart. Let's see what happens if I swap this for just cart. Come up here and just swap that. Actually, it's not that, is it? Something silly like that. It can behave in random ways at times. So let's just swap that to cart. Get a normal cart. And here we're going to get cart. And make sure we know what's going on. So we're getting the cart. The cart there is fine. Cart with coupon. Run it. Data set doesn't exist. No, then it falls into the bottom thing. So something within here that is causing some major issues. Yeah, I think it's definitely a containery thing. Wait a minute, is it? Hey, that's all it was. Okay, so let's grab that. What we're going to do, we're going to try and can we? That's the best we can really do at the minute, isn't it? Yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. So let's just quickly simplify that to make it at least look nicer. I think that works now. And this will now run. And we're getting the cart with coupon that we expected. So now we can expect the cart with coupon to be string. Yeah, it was null before. Let's run it, see what happens. Let's remove a DD. Right, step 1, passed. Step 2, failed. Undefined variable cart. Cool. That I can handle. This part I can't handle. So what we're going to have to do at this stage is say get the coupon. Not really what I want to be doing. And we want to say where the code is coupon first. So coupon UUID. Not great, but doing its job, I guess. And then make sure it still fails when we send over the cart with coupon. And run that. And there we go. That's back to there. We've now done part of it. Shame we still got to do that, but for now I'm just going to have to accept it. And where can we go from here? So do we care that the coupon has been removed from a business perspective? Not so much. We don't need to event source this part. We can just say, just remove it. Yeah, we can refactor it so it's a little bit nicer and not so kind of there. Hi Bernard. So that one we got to do. We got to check that it exists, but I suppose we could do that here. or somewhere. Doing some validation for allowing access, and we're updating. So that stuff is something we'll have to refactor a little bit later, but this is something that we can just very quickly refactor into our usual approach of customer, factories, and value objects. So we can have a, not those, sorry, actions. Create cart, change cart quantity, add product to cart. Cart coupon code. You definitely lost me there, Ben, sorry. So, what we need to do, we need to make an action, and that action needs to be remove coupon from cart. Remove coupon from cart. Yeah, there's no coupon relationship on the cart model at all. It's literally there's active coupons and you apply them. They're not related in any way. We're not binding it that way. Unless that might be a sensible idea. I'm not too sure about it yet. But we can circle back to that one definitely. So we want a static function handle. We don't really want to return anything. And what we want to do is we want to pass through a cart. So what we want to be able to do really is say remove coupon from cart, handle, cart, and that's it. That's all we want to do. It's not changing much, but we're just moving things out the way into a way that we can then unit test these things. You know, we can test that when this is called with a cart passed in, that the action actually happens. No problems, Mark. You go take care, buddy. So that's very simple refactored there. Returning the response, that's fine. I've said before how we could just do a return response with a no content and pass through the status of HTTP accepted like that. But I am quite a fan of doing this because what this response would do, it'll build a response factory and it'll just make it with a base with stuff, the arguments passed in, and all that factory make is going to do. This response factory make will just return a new response. So I'm just shortcutting helpers here. While it looks nice, I'm quite a fan of things being declarative, so that is why I do these things this way. But there's nothing wrong with using the helpers at all. You know, the memory usage, the speed difference is so negligible that you won't notice it. Even if you micro time it, you'd barely notice it. You could call that network change and network latency. Oh. Bit of Ribena to freshen me up. Right, where are we? Taking the hoodie off. Oh, I hope I didn't leave the heating on because I'm going to be dying in this grey t-shirt. Right, so there's our coupon test. That works the way we expect it to, so we can still run it. Things still happen as we expect it to. We don't need to worry about storing the event around coupons getting removed, because from a reporting perspective, why would we care? We want to know when coupons have been added and applied, not, oh, they removed a coupon, so they paid full price. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's... Who cares? Yes, you could probably catch people doing add coupon, remove coupon, see what's getting them the best deal. But if you've got those coupons available, there's nothing wrong with people doing that. And if you do want to stop them doing that, then rate limit it. They'll get bored. So we'll do it this way. And what we're going to want to do quickly is I'm going to come to our cart test down here. I'm going to remove that from there. And we will just add this back in here. Here's our coupon tests. So here's our eloquent stored event. And here's our coupon was applied. And what we can do is just make sure we delete everything that we aren't using. So when we come down here and just do an artisan test, oh, we get a failure. Apply post. Always something you forget, right? Here we go, 13 tests. You know, the coupon test. Yeah, close your object. I don't mind that being there. It's a little bit annoying, but, you know, it's fine. It's not going to kill me. You know, there's no way I can really clean that up nicely. Unless I pulled this out and we imported it and we just did some really horrible stuff. There's no, you know, it's output. It's terminal output to see if tests are working. That is it. So that part is working as I would expect. Our next step is to look at adding billing information and adding shipping information. So your first step is, okay, so this is basically us preempting creating an order, right? At some point we're going to go, okay, here's our cart. Now we want to make it an order. Here is some information that we're going to want to store. So if we go have a look at our carts, we don't need anything about that on there. So this is where we get to a little bit of an impasse. So up to this point, you can be a guest or an authenticated user, and that is no problem at all. The next step is where we actually want to take payment and turn this into an order. So to do that, we can't do that on a cart. What we can do it on, however, is on an order. We can say, here's a shipping ID and here's a billing ID. We can create a location and attach it to the order. Order status, we've got pending, completed, refunded, cancelled. So what I'm thinking we can do at this stage, and anybody watching, feel free to speak out, drop a comment or something. At the stage where we want to add billing and shipping information, that is when we're converting to an order, because that's when we're committing. We're going, okay, so this is no longer a cart. Turn this cart into an order. This is like, I'm clicking next, right, here's my billing information, speak to Stripe, get a token, a payment token, bring it back, do this, do that, send it off to my API, who I can then save, process and charge. Done. Nice and simple there. To me, the point where you want to add your billing information and shipping information, if you aren't logged in, if you are logged in, it doesn't matter at that stage. You only want to add that when you're paying, not when you're building up a cart that you want to try and get purchased. So now we're going to look at converting a cart into an order. So to do that, I think what we need to do is, let's look at our routes, because this is all going to be done through an API. So here's our carts. It's not going to be a cart, it's going to be an order. So Here's our order routes. So we're going to go route. Can I add a prefix? Whee. Can I add the prefix of orders, obviously. We're going to prefix the names with orders with a colon, and then we're just going to group everything. And the first thing we want to do for this workflow at the moment is turn a cart into an order. We're going to hit an endpoint. We're going to do a route. We're going to do a post request, and we're going to say orders / name, and then the name is going to be store. Technically, we're following convention. Yeah, we're at this stage we're working on a checkout process, right? We're checking out. So this is a pending order. So if we go back to our order status, you know, if a payment fails, it can be cancelled. It could be, you know, we could create an extra one. We could say order declined or something like that. Method static self declined. Here we go. That is how we can do that. So if the payment gets declined, we just mark the order as declined. Done. That's an order. That's a failed order. We want to catch that, I suppose, don't we? So what we want to do is app HTTP controllers API v1. We want to go to orders, right? Orders store controller class. So let's go create that. Let's make a what's going on? A make controller. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop this out of being all the way down there so you can see it. So it's here, where my big mouse is. So a make controller. It's going to be similar, but it's going to be a store controller. API v1 orders store controller. Great. So now I can say, okay, make a request, and our request is going to be similar. API v1 orders store request. So now I can comment this out, come over to here, and say we want the store request. And that is the order store request, and we also will no longer need that one imported. So let's start writing a test for this so we can step through how this is going to work. Let's go down to our tests, and what are we listening to? Spotify. We are listening to Rollin' by Punk Rock Factory. It sounded very similar to the actual Limp Bizkit then, so I was like, am I listening to Limp Bizkit? That's been a while. Right, tests feature, and let's create a file, sorry, and we're going to create a order test for now. And what we want to do, we want to say it can create an order from a cart. Kind of the purpose of creating an order, right? You need to build up a cart to make an order. So let's step through. I was having a chat with someone today actually about how I approach testing, and this is one approach. So what do I want to achieve? I want to make sure that I can create an order from a cart, right? So what do I want to do? First off, create a cart. then I want to say, okay, send request to endpoint to create order from cart. What am I expecting to see at this point? So at this point, I expect that the model exists, or expect that there is now an order in the database. So expect that there is no orders in the database. And this is how we do it, you know, create a cart, cool. You know, are there any orders in the database yet? No, cool. I know I can create a cart because my models work. That's Laravel testing. I don't need to test that a cart can be created once I've hit a cart factory, because some of my other tests are using that and Laravel functionalities are showing that. Yes, definitely using pest. So once I've got my cart, I want to say, okay, do I have any orders at the minute in the database? There shouldn't be, because we're using refresh database trait. No, great. Carry on. Now I can send the request to kind of create the order from the cart. Okay, you've done that. Is the status okay to start with? Am I getting the correct HTTP status? And then, is there any orders in the database? Yeah, there is. Cool, so that must have worked. So, step 1, create a cart. Instead of doing it that way, I am going to say with cart. Are there items in the cart in a DB table? Yes, they are. So our cart has many cart items, and our cart items is a polymorphic relation between variables. Not variables. Let me just fix that, because that was really annoying me for a second. So that is a mixture of, if I come down to catalog, a variant, and we are going to be creating a bundle as well. So the idea is that a variant would be like the product is a t-shirt, this t-shirt exactly, molten, a molten t-shirt, this exact design, and the variant is the color or size. So this one is like a large grey, for example. That's variant. So a completely different variant would be, okay, so extra large grey. And then a bundle is, okay, so I want to bundle an extra large grey hoodie, extra large grey t-shirt, and a pack of stickers, and I want to call that a hype kit, for example, something really silly like that, you know. And it's like, okay, if you buy all of these products together, you get a discount. That's bundles, and that's how that is why this is polymorphic. I'm not sure if you saw the beginning when I was going through that, but thought I'd reiterate in case there's anyone new watching who hasn't seen that part yet. So we can get our cart into here. So in our cart test, returns a cart, can add a new product to cart, blah blah, cart variant. Don't want that. I need this. Cart item. You know what? I'm gonna get the 3 cart items. It's gonna give me a cart item. Yeah, we're gonna do that one. And then what did you do up the top here? For each one, you got a cart item. Let's go look at how that data set was created quickly, so I can make sure that things are working properly. 3 cart item. Okay, so quantity 3. Cool. Cool. So we've got a cart item with 3 of them for this one cart. So what I need to do is go expect that order query get to equal 0. So let's just simplify that part. Run that. Cool. Object doesn't match. Okay. What happens if I quickly do a so get count. Ooh. Just remove that part completely, maybe. There we go. That's working. So we know that there's no orders in the database. So now we want to send the request. So we want to do a post request where the URI is going to be API v1 orders store. And data I want to pass over. All I need to pass over is the cart ID, I think, or the cart UID, the identifier for the cart. So with a cart item I can get the cart back. So this is going to be where it's a little bit. So our cart is going to be cart item, which has a cart ID. I'm not sure if I want to do the cart ID. I'd rather say cart UID personally, because then we want to assert that the status coming back is HTTP created. So there's that part. Yep, that's a relationship. So that is an n+1 issue, but for this specific test, it's fine, I think. And then obviously we want this to equal 1. So run. We are expecting a 403 order test. Something failed. So that means we can start step 2. Let's just close all of those because we don't need to focus on those, and we need to focus on this controller here and this store request. So first step, 403. Let's resolve that. Order test, here it is. And let's run it again. Okay, so we're expecting a 201, but we got a 200. Cool. So our store request, we need to validate. So what we're expecting is we're expecting a cart. This is required. It should be a string because it's a UUID. And what we want this to be, we want it to exist in carts as a UUID. So now, let's make sure we're not getting like validation error. 200, great, we can step forward. Our store request is now done. We know that works. So we can work on this part here. So how would we typically do this? So typically what I would do, if I was going to do things all in line first, I always do things in line first, then refactor where it makes sense. Because there's no point trying to write the perfect scenario straight away when you don't know what the scenario is going to look like. So first step, create the order. Second step, any notifications. Last step, return response. And what I'm going to do in the background is, I believe there's an update to this, so I'm going to open this and check for updates. Yep, I'll let that download in the background while I am going through this. So, create the order. Okay, so how can I create an order? I can say, okay, so order equals order query create. So at this stage we're either logged in or we're not. So this is where we need to make sure our order has nullable things in the right places. So let's go look at order and see what we need to fill in. So we're going to need an order number. Let's step through that. So our number is going to be a random order number. Let's move that over there a second. Our state is going to be order status pending label. Our coupon will be, this is where we find out we need to get our cart out. So we're passing the cart UUID, so we can say, okay, so get our cart where our the UUID is request get cart. So you get the first one. We shouldn't fail at that point because we've already done the validation. So what we've got now is we've got a cart. So we can say, what kind of tools are you playing? I've got so many tools in the background. So many. I have got 1Password. That is my headset. I've got JetBrains Toolbox, Google Drive, Tuple, Fig, which I don't use currently, PHP Monitor, so I can switch PHP versions, Rectangle, which is fantastic, by the way. So what it means, I can take this window here, come to Rectangle and say, okay, stick that on the left half, if it's full screen, or not full screen, sorry, left half it, actually no, I want center half, or actually no, first third, or I could say maximize. So it's just a really cool thing, that one. What else have I got? I've got Raycast, which is this menu here. So GitHub issue, create an issue, Laravel transporter, or I could come down to something else, and it allows me to do lots of cool stuff like that. What I'm listening to, and then just the standards. So there's our coupon. Back to the code. Sorry, I love talking about the tools I'm using at the minute. There's so many of them. Cool. Yep. Quick hello, and let that load. There should now be an icon up here, I believe, at some point. I should be getting an icon. It is loading. It's doing its update. So let's go back to our code while we wait for that. There it is. And here it is, look. Oh my god. So let me just close that down. Come over to here and I can say, show the app. Bang. Oh, that's so cool. Super helpful. Right, so there's cart. We want our total to be calculate me. We have to calculate that total. Reduction is going to be the cart reduction. So the coupon is cart coupon. There's a reduction on that. No user ID, no shipping, no billing yet. That stuff can happen a little bit later. This is bare minimum right now. So that is like our bare minimum. Here is our order. And then we'd want to do something like, you know, if we're logged in, then send a notification to the user. Otherwise, but they haven't given us their information. I'd expect them at this point to have given us an email address, which is where we can extend the validation. So we've done our auth check. We send a notification, and then we can say, okay, return a new response. Our content is null. Technically, we should return the order, really, but we'll do that for now. We will do that. I'm going to return a JSON response where the data is the order and the status is HTTP created. Like that. And then we can say JSON response, can remove that one, just get that to disappear, run that, and look, it's passing. We've created an order. Great. So what we want is to be able to say, okay, so as a authenticated user or unauthenticated user, we can create a cart, an order from a cart. So it can create an order from a cart for an unauthenticated user. So this is where we've got to pass that email in. And we'll say test@pest.com. And that will be their email. So now we can come back to here and we can say email. So let's go through validation options for this, right? So let's go back to the top and let's say validation rules. Validation. We've got all of these. We've got like a, I'm pretty sure there's like a optional or something like that. Required if. So we could do something like this. Rule required if. So that should be required if, and then with the callback, required if logged in. Oh no. Guest. Then we want this to be an email. Yeah, sometimes would work. Sometimes, here we go. Sometimes required. But I can go required if, which means that I don't have to do it sometimes. I can be more declarative and say, okay, so if we're a guest, we're requiring the email basically. So this should be an email, and we are going to, that's it, really. Yeah, the email would do things like DNS, RFC or whatever it was called. email, 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 email required. Right, let's go right back up to the top where it's got the options. Validation. Let's keep going, let's keep going. Right, there we go. So, RFC and DNS. So, you don't typically do both. You know, it's a, are you going to do RFC and DNS, or are you going to do both, or, you know, I personally think RFC is okay enough, but I'll keep for RFC DNS for now. And what I'll do for the order test, we'll do just like me. You know, that's going to pass. There's nothing else that we should need, so now we can just run that again. That is still passing. So if we remove that, we should be failing. Email is required because we're not logged in. Great. So can create an order from a cart for an authenticated user. Perfect. So yes, we need to refactor this. However, we need to make sure that if we are logged in, that we can assign this correctly. So our order should have a user if they are logged in. So if we are logged in, we can get the auth ID, otherwise null. Come back to order test. That is still working. So what else will we need to do? Shipping and billing. So our test, we need to say we need 2 locations, don't we? So let's create shipping and billing. So shipping is location, factory, create. And we're just going to do the same one for both. I'm just going to say location is that. And then we're going to do shipping is location. And billing is location. Obviously it's going to be the ID, but right, now let's try that again, see what happens. Still passing, but it's not saving, so we might have to improve this. Let's get the first one, and we want our first order to have expect first shipping to shipping ID to equal location ID. So this is obviously going to fail, and I'm not sure if that is going to work in itself. Let's run it. Cool. Right, so now store request. So we are going to want shipping information. This is going to be required. It is going to come through as an integer because it will be exists under locations ID. And then we're going to have the exact same thing for billing. We'll come back to here. Cool, we're still failing. So that means that in here we need the shipping ID to equal request get shipping, and then the billing ID, the request get billing. Obviously this is going to be refactored as soon as we're getting any sort of information back from an API, but because we haven't decided on what API yet, there's no point trying to make assumptions yet. Cool. So it is failing on this. So what I want to do is say shipping ID to equal that. So let's just give it a go, and there we go. That's working. So we know that we've now got an order, and then that order equals that. So we can add another expectation. So we can add the, yeah, do you have one? Yeah, we do. So there we go. So if anything fails, it's going to fail before trying to check object association. We're checking that it's saved or checking with details. There's our store controller, getting the right response. So what we want to do next is basically we do want to send a notification, but I'm not going to worry about that. I will add that as part of the event sourcing aspect of creating an order. Next steps is the same thing for an authenticated user. So auth login user factory. Great. Let's just log in a random user. Right. That should expect something authenticatable, so that's good. So we shouldn't have any orders. That's great. So let's create a location. And we're going to post that. And for the data, we are going to drop the email. We still want to pass through the location for the shipping and billing, because you know a user can save many shipping addresses and billing addresses to their account, and they've got to select the ones, and they've got defaults and that sort of thing. So that's kind of user land territory. So this should still work as it needs to. And then what we can also do is expect the user ID for this to equal the auth ID. So let's run it. And it just works. Look at that. I love it when tests just work. So if I just ignored that and just ran this again, we should fail. You know, we're trying to create something and it doesn't exist. It's the same as, you know, the validation will fail. You know, the email field's required because we haven't logged in. So as soon as we log in, we're doing that require if is working, and it's just saying that, okay, so you're not actually assigning the user ID. So there we go. We can assign it. We can run the test, and that works. Right, being a break. Any questions up until this point? Now is probably a really good time before I spend the last half an hour converting this into an event sourced part. So, right, being a break, let me know. Well, actually, I'm meant to be drinking this, aren't I? I'm trying to drink more water. No questions, no nothing yet. That is good. It means that I can kind of just crack on. Cool. Right, okay. So I'm expecting a lot of this to still work, other than this won't work, and that isn't what we want to be testing. So what we want to be testing, if we have a look at what we did for our cart tests, we want to expect eloquent stored events to have 0, basically. We want to change this. We're not bothered about the user at that point. The orders, we're saying, okay, we haven't got any stored events, and then we're going to want to expect that a cart was created event, basically. So none of that, this. So this bit we will backfill once we've got everything working. So run. We're failing. Okay, so line 50. Yeah, we've got no stored events. Great. So now we can take a step forward. So how can I turn this into something event sourced? The first step is to look at, okay, what factories do we need? What everything do we need? So we don't want the catalog, do we? Yeah, we do. No. Orders are part of a user model, customer model, not the catalog. So we are going to want an event. And we're going to create a order was created event. And this is going to extend the should be stored. So here is the start of the event itself. So public function construct, and what do we want to pass through to this? Pretty much what we did through to here. So we're going to want a cart, but we're going to want the cart UUID. We want to store the UUID of the cart. So public string cart. Let's move this over here, because that's going to be useful. Order was created. Then we're going to want a potential email. So public null string email. Great. Public int shipping and public int billing. They can be the same. So because that's nullable, that needs to be moved to the bottom to start with. But also what else is nullable is public null int user. So one of the last two will be filled. And our request validation is going to handle that part. So there's our order was created. There's our event. And what we need an aggregate. We need an order aggregate. And that is going to extend aggregate root. So now I can come back to here and I can simplify this. And what we can do is do a public function. What are we doing? Create order. So let's look at our cart aggregate here. So add product, remove product, increase quantity. They're all kind of demanding names. So our order aggregate, we want it to create an order. And what that's going to get, much like over here, it is going to get the string for the cart, UUID. It is going to get basically everything that we would get in here. So we're going to get int for shipping. We're going to get int for billing. We're going to get null int for user and null int for null string for email. And then what we're going to return is self. So come back to here, and what we want to be able to do is return this. So what our aggregate needs to do is it needs to say, okay, this, record that, the domain event for new order was created. So our cart is a cart. The shipping is shipping. The billing is billing. The user is user, and the email is the email. So let's just format this quickly. And then what we want to do is method to string not implemented. Okay, so the cart being passed through. There we go. So basically we're going to say order aggregate, create order, record that the order was created, and then return. So that's going to replace that part. So this is still needed. We want to get the cart. We don't need it really. So what we can do here is we can say order aggregate retrieve, where the UUID is UUID string, and then we can say create an order, and the arguments we want to pass through is a cart, request, get, cart. That's the UUID. The shipping information that we want to pass through is request, get, shipping. Email is auth. If we are a guest, then request, get, email. Otherwise it is null. The user would be auth check. If we are logged in, then we're going to go request request auth ID, otherwise null, and then billing is request get billing, and that's that. All we got to do there is just sort those arguments, and we're done. So all of this can now be removed, and we can just say persist order test undefined order in store controller line 50. Yeah, all of that basically. So this is where we're going to turn this into a response instead of a JSON response, because the content we want to pass is null. and this is going to be a response instead of a JSON response. So I'll come back to our order test, run that again, and that has been stored. What we could probably do here is to show this. Let's just get the first one. Let's run it. So we've got stored events in SQLite. Order was created. Here's a cart. Shipping ID, billing ID. The user was logged in, and here is an email. Here's some metadata. Aggregate root ID, created at aggregate root version, and stored event ID. We've got some useful information in there. So that is that. This we can, say, okay, what's the product removed from the cart? Yeah. Order was no. Sorry. Oh, what am I doing? Order was created. Here we go. This is what I wanted. So order was created. We stored that event. So we know that we are logging that event now from a event sourcing perspective. Obviously, we need to write tests for our order aggregate too. So how long have we got? Well, that didn't take too long. So let's just go to a test. Right, so cool. So what we need is we need to also update our tests for unauthenticated users. Because we don't care about that. What we do care about is this. So we can swap those options over, leave on our tests, and we're good. So we're now testing authenticated and unauthenticated against the same endpoint. That is working exactly as expected. So all we need next, we need to move this. So what we need to do is look at our order aggregate test now. Going to be very similar to how we've done this here. So it can store an event for adding a product. Okay, so it can create an order. That's all we need it to do, create an order. So we want a product and we want a cart. So what we want to do at this point is just say with three cart items. So come to our test, datasets, carts, three cart items. Here's our three cart items. So what we want to test is the order aggregate fake. Go. So let's run this and make sure it doesn't die. Didn't perform any assertions, that's fine with me. Right, so what we want to do is we want the order aggregate fake. And what we want to do is given a certain event or set of events happens. So given events new order was created. Simplify that one. So, given a new order was created, so we can get a cart, that's going to expect a string. So we can get the item, we can get the cart, and we can get the UID. Billing. Now what we're going to want to do is data sets, locations.php, and much like a coupon, we're going to want a location, and that is going to be a location factory create. So what we're also going to want is location. Simplify that. Let's give ourselves some real estate so we can see what's going on here. Obviously got to declare strict types because, you know, I'm me is what I do. Location ID. So it can create an order for an unauthenticated user. So user null. Email is to me. Hey. And shipping is location ID again. Right, so now what we can do is we can just quickly sort those arguments. It says that given these arguments, when you get a function given when our aggregate I want to say aggregate create order and we want to say use item and location. I'm going to create an order with a cart. Well, basically that. Same thing. To then assert recorded. Expected events. Basically that. That's making sure our event is storing correctly and what we not what I'm looking for there, is it? Let's see if there's a nice way with event sourcing. Testing. Projectors. I want to test. How can I test projectors nicely? ignore that for now. Let's run it. Cool. And then let's say it's pretty much the same thing for an authenticated user. Instead, we are going to say auth login using user factory create. Simplify that one quickly. User is auth ID null auth ID null auth ID. Right. Let's do that. Cool, that's all passing. I need to look into how I'm going to test projectors next, I think. Because currently, we're storing the event, but we're not actually projecting anything into the database. So what we need is in the customer projectors, we need an order projector. That's the correct one, isn't it? Yeah, cool. So our order aggregate test, cart projector, location, coupon, cart. Basically, this part, what we need to do is public function on order was created. Order was created. Event. We don't need to return anything from this. What we want to do at this point is create a factory, create a value object, perform an action. Can I do that and still keep this under 2 hours? Oh, time is against me. Right, so first thing, value object. Let's create a very quick order value object. So our order value object needs a constructor, public function construct. That's going to take some arguments. It's going to have I'm not going to get this done, am I? I have to do too much work for this. Not going to get it all done, but we'll do what we can. So we're going to have a cart. Basically, what we're going to need is something very similar to our order was created here. There's our order value object. And what we need to do is we need to have a factory that does a order factory. This needs to have a public static function make. This is going to return a order value object, and our factory needs to take in some array of attributes, and then this needs to return a new order value object where the cart is attributes Cart, shipping, billing, email, and the user. That's it there. So sort those arguments quickly. So there's a value object, there's a factory, that's how that is created. And our projector needs to go to object. So order value object. Order factory. Get the attributes. Cart billing in event billing. Shipping event email user event user. So there's our object. There's our data object at the other end. It's a non-interactive version of the event basically at this stage. And then what we want to do is pass that to an action. So in our actions, we want to have a new PHP class called create order. Now this is the one that's going to take a bit of time to create. So we're going to have a public function handle, have an order value object, and we're going to return an order. So our order value object will come through as an object, and there's our order. Wow. Order, actually that's going to be returning a model. So we can say that the order is going to be order query create, do stuff with it. So in a store controller like we did down here, we'd have this. Now I can get all of that, take it all back there. And order status pending is still correct. Any coupon that we might get coming through is we're going to have to do a cart lookup here. We're also going to have to do location lookup. Actually no, the validation took care of that part. Cart coupon. So this is where we can say object shipping and object billing. User ID is basically going to be so is the object email null. If the email is null, then it's going to be object user or null. And then we'll get the cart up here, so we can say cart equals cart query where first query where the UUID is the object cart. But what we also want to do is say, with, The relation that we're going to want is items. So we're going to want cart items. So then our cart coupon can go there. Then we need to find a way to create that. And then we can just simply return order. And there is our order. So that is kind of how it's going to work. Flew through that last bit a little bit. So instead of that, we've moved to an aggregate. And it is come down to our event sourcing provider. And we want to say, oh, we can just extend this one. Cool. So we can say order projector, done. So, yeah, our store controller hits our order aggregate, which does this create order. And this create order records this event. And when that event is recorded, our projector will listen for that on order was created. It will hook that up. It will then do an order factory make, and then it will do a create order create order static function handle. Where are we? Projector okay. Handle, where the object is object. That's it. That is now lined up. So our aggregate records the event, and then with the sparsely event sourcing package, that projects the new state from that event. It goes, okay, so when this event is triggered, we basically append it with an on, and we find a projector with an on event name, and we run that method, passing in the event. So what happened is that order factory will take in the event information to create an object that we can then pass through to a handle method on an action, which will grab the cart from the object, and it will also create the order and return it. Not that it needs to return it, really. So we're going to skip that. Because we don't need to return. And there we go. The next step from here would be order items and payment stuff. So that's what we're going to cover next. We're going to look at our order items. So basically, how can we take what was the cart? Now we've created an order. We need to say, okay, so that cart has now moved on. Delete it. This order, what we want to do is say, here is the order items that was on the cart. So pipe those over, delete the cart, add the payment information, and wait for webhook callbacks from Stripe, for example. And then we're done. That is that order process finished. Currently it's pending. If that card gets rejected, it shouldn't come through to our API because the front end's going to handle that. But if a payment gets rejected later from Stripe, we can have a callback which then can emit an event and update our order, and we can react to that with reactors and projectors. And there it is. That is applying a coupon, adding billing and shipping information through locations. And locations are just really simple models where it's got a house, a street, parish, ward, district, county, postcode and country. Obviously I'm basing this off UK information that I know, and that's how we name things in the UK if you're going to go off of post office standards. So there we go. any questions, reach out to me. I will be picking this back up again on Thursday. Leave a comment, like, subscribe if you're interested. Yeah, I've got a link in the description below for Discord. I'm always about on Discord. Always happy to lend a hand here, there, wherever's needed. And thanks for tuning in. If you like the content, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment or a like so I know what people like, so I can start planning more content around what people are interested in. And other than that, yeah, find me on Twitter and I'll catch you on Thursday. Thank you very much. I'm going to spend some time with my wife. Take care and good night.